This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by Groundhog Day is an event, not a business strategy. Are you ready to finally solve those pesky issues that keep holding back your business success and never seem to go away? Embrace the power of the S.P.R.I.N.G formula that unearths the issues and opportunities burrowed beneath the surface, and grow your business so you thrive from your intersection of your brilliance and your passion. Claim your copy today at www.thegroundhogbook.com. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am your host, and I am honored by your wise decision to tune in once again and invest in yourself today. The Brilliance Plus Passion Project highlights entrepreneurs, influencers, and change makers who make the world a better place by being part of it and by their contributions to it. And one of the things that is very important is how we manage our energy, how we stimulate ourselves, and how we regulate ourselves so that we can perform optimally at everything we do. And part of this has to do with what we drink. So when this person came to me, this guest you're about to meet, he approached me wanting to share with me the world's first energy drink without caffeine that actually works. Now, naturally, I'm quite intrigued, so I'm looking forward to hearing more about this and the man behind it. His name is Daniel Solomons, and he is the CEO and founder of a company called Update. And basically, that's what Update is. It is a particular type of energy drink that works without caffeine. And it gives you zero crash, zero jitters, because it has the zero caffeine, which is kind of important to me because I'm pretty susceptible to the whole caffeine thing. Daniel Solomons, welcome aboard. It's so great to have you here today. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Thanks, Adam. Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so aside from what I've already shared, the first thing that we ask is, how does the work that you do make a difference for your community, market, and audience, and for the world at large?
Sure. So I think, to take a step back, everyone needs energy. Everyone's looking for energy. And right now, 90% of people revert to caffeine because that's really the only option, the only alternative that we've come to know. But roughly 50% of people, yourself, like you mentioned, are actually slower metabolizers and are susceptible to all the side effects that caffeine has to offer. So those are people who are drinking a cup of coffee, feeling jittery, feeling anxious. Your stomach starts to churn. Or maybe you want energy in the afternoon and you're looking at the clock because it's too late to have a cup of coffee and you're going to be up all night.
Yeah.
And so what we wanted to do is really come up with a way to satisfy that energy craving and get you feeling optimal without having any of those side effects.
Right. So essentially, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying that's what we've done.
Okay. So essentially what you do is you sell the Update energy drink. And so as people take a look at this and they may ask questions like, what's in it for me? What makes this different than all the others? In general, what are some of the FAQs or frequently asked questions you receive from folks who are looking at Update and considering buying some?
Sure. So I think, think about energy drinks. Since the start of time, it's been the classic narrative of caffeine plus sugar, more caffeine, more sugar, more caffeine, artificial sweeteners. And the narrative is like, how much caffeine can you pack into a can and how sweet can you make it?
Yeah.
And so what we've really done is we've worked out with scientists for several years how to break down the caffeine molecule into its various components, take the part that gives you the energy and the focus. It's called paraxanthine. Work out how to turn that into an ingredient and use that as the core stimulant behind the product Update.
Oh, great. Now, what are a few things you wish people would ask?
What would I wish people ask? I wish they would pay more attention to what's in all the other energy drinks out there,
Yeah.
and actually look at the ingredients and ask how much, what are the actual doses of the ingredients? Because what we've found is lots of brands out there, functional products, energy drinks, have a number of ingredients in them, call it like buzzwords. But when you actually think about how much of that ingredient is in there, it's more of a feather dust. And so they use it as a marketing ploy rather than providing an effective dose that generates real efficacy on consumption.
Right, because I am curious about this, and I'm looking forward to receiving my can of it so I can taste it. I'm going to start, the first day I have it, I'm going to give it a shot that morning. I see you're drinking one right now. What flavor is that?
This is peach. So we have 4 flavors: peach, lime, berry, and mandarin.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, after I try it out, the berry and the mandarin both sound pretty good to me.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really like coffee myself. I never did. I like iced tea. And I think it's because I was raised on it. Now, the kind of iced tea I was raised on is most of the year, it was that stuff that comes in the powder and you mix it up in the pitcher, which couldn't possibly be worse for you. But during the summertime, my parents would sun brew tea. Now,
Okay.
what I do today is I have an actual iced tea brewer that I use. I buy either packets of tea or like scoops of it, and I put it in a little filter, and it runs through and it brews the iced tea for me. Now, I'm not a fan of bland drinks. I got to have things sweetened, so I don't drink unsweetened iced tea. I usually sweeten mine with stevia.
Yeah.
I know that that's not as bad as sugar. What I just want to surface here is that when I see drinks that say something like sugar free, I tend to avoid them altogether. Now is yours actually sugar free, and if so, why should I consider it?
Sure. So we actually use stevia as our core sweetener. We don't use sugar.
Oh, okay.
And the rationale behind that was most energy drinks either use copious amounts of sugar or an artificial sweetener called sucralose or ACE-K. And we didn't want to go down the artificial route. We didn't want the product to be sickly sweet either. We wanted to use natural sweeteners. And so that's why we landed on allulose.
Right.
And stevia, sorry.
Yeah. Many years ago, back when I lived in Pittsburgh, there was a TGI Fridays I went to regularly, and I was such a regular there that when I walked in, I would have a seat up at the bar, and they would ask me, which of your 2 regulars are you going to have today? And I would just tell them, and they would know exactly what I wanted. That's how regular I was. But
Right.
Another part of it, as soon as they saw me walking through the door heading toward the bar, they didn't pour a glass of iced tea for me. They poured a glass and then put a pitcher next to it. Because I used to go through this stuff like it was water. And you know why that was?
Why?
Because I was sweetening it with Splenda.
Right.
I amazed myself how much of the stuff I went through, but it was the Splenda that was doing it, because I could probably go to that same TGI Fridays today, and they have them in Las Vegas. I stop by them every so often, and I can have 1 or 2 glasses of tea because I'm not pouring what's basically chlorine into them.
Right.
So in microcosm, I see how this stuff can make a big difference.
Yeah, no, it was really important to, try and level up the category that's typically like copious amounts of caffeine and copious amounts of artificial sweeteners. So to use something that wasn't caffeine but gave you the effect, and to use something that was able to sweeten the product but it was natural, was really where we wanted to land.
Yeah, and I'm very intrigued by the stevia thing. That actually excites me because that's my favorite sweetener. I use it for just about everything. I buy stevia by the bag.
Wow.
Let's put it that way. I also buy little boxes with packets in it. That's just when I need something to carry with me. Anytime I go to a restaurant, anytime I go out, I got stevia in my pocket because it's a crapshoot whether they're going to have any. And I am not putting NutraSweet in my drinks.
Right. I don't know if you'll find a bag of stevia in our products. It's not as sweet, but it is a good sweet.
Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait. If it's not in my mailbox already, I'm guessing it's going to be there tomorrow. And as soon as I hear it is, I'm going to make a special trip up there just to pick it up, and I'm going to try it the first morning I have it, because that's. And tell me if I'm doing this right. A great way to try it is like the first day I have it, I'll actually try it that morning in lieu of whatever my morning drink is, and see what impact that has on me. Does it have any neurological impacts in terms of focus, energy?
So I think to your point earlier, either try it, in the morning in lieu of caffeine, or, after lunch when you want that energy pick me up, and, a coffee is going to keep you up and disrupt your sleep. rather go for an update. What we've found with update is it does have neurological benefits. It's dopaminergic. It helps with, focus. It helps with your mood. It really elevates your mood and focus. And it gives you energy, but not overstimulation. So, caffeine really tends to overstimulate us. That's why our sleep is also, quite disrupted. It stays in our system upwards of 10, 12 hours. Update and paraxanthine, the product we use, is really only in your system for, 3 to 4 hours. You don't notice the come down or the crash. And you can drink it much later in the day, actually, and your sleep won't be disrupted.
Oh yeah, because let me tell you, like if I'm at a seminar or something, and you come back after lunch, I might make it through that first presentation, but like 2 hours afterward. It's actually why, to the extent that there still are live events and I still do in-person public speaking, I'm usually booked as the after lunch guy because I do this whole call and response thing that keeps people awake, and I usually strongly urge my host to have me on and then immediately go to break. Because people about an hour after their lunch, they're going to need to move around. Otherwise, the whole coma thing sets in. And most of them will attempt to counteract the coma with another cup of coffee, which spikes them and then crashes them.
Totally. So this will have the opposite effect. It will just kind of uplift you and keep you there.
That's what we're looking for. So let's switch gears a little bit. And in the time we have left, I want to introduce our listeners a bit to Daniel Solomon's The Man. This is the fun part. So first of all, what would people who know you be surprised to learn about you?
I really like to play different musical instruments.
Okay.
So I like to play piano, guitar, and saxophone.
All right. Great. What do you hope people say? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was saying that's a little bit different.
Yeah. That wasn't my first guess about you, actually. So that could be interesting. Have you ever played in a band or a musical ensemble?
Yeah, sure. Back in the day.
Okay.
Whatnot.
All right. What do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
I would hope that they say I'm very thoughtful.
Yeah. If you could go back in time and change one thing you've done, one thing you've experienced, one thing you've had happen, what would it be and why?
I moved to New York from Sydney, Australia about 4 years ago. And I think if I could, I would have moved, perhaps a year or two earlier to accelerate the opportunities that I've had here in America, specifically in New York, that, was very much opening my mind as opposed to what I had back home.
Yeah. I moved from Pennsylvania to Las Vegas it's going on 10 years at this point. And if I had that to do over again, I would have done it 5 years sooner. But exactly. What can you do at times?
Live with no regrets.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what questions to ask. And you don't even know that the questions exist. And that's why we like to share our stories, because that's actually part of what the Brilliance Plus Passion Project is about, is having our listeners hear stories from change makers like you so that they may find themselves inspired to take actions that they're not even aware are available to them right now. It's like sometimes you get the answers to questions you didn't even think to ask or know to ask. And that's one of the things we like to do for our folks. So what famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet? And what question would you have for them if you had the opportunity?
I think it would be really interesting to ask Bill Gates what he thinks the biggest problem of our generation is and how he would solve it.
Okay.
I think he's one of the world's leading problem solvers, accomplished in both business and philanthropy, and it would be interesting to pick his brain.
Great. What motivates and inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge?
I love what I'm doing, and I always think about, in the future I'll have a family, and I'm building this for them. Yeah.
And finally, in a moment, I'm going to share with our audience where they can discover more about the Update Energy Drink. I'm going to give them the link and everything else. So I'm going to take care of that part. But in general, when we're done here in about a minute, other than getting themselves some update and having themselves a drink, what is one thing you would urge our listeners to consider doing? One action to take or one thing to ponder?
I think, we strive for happiness, but it's very, I don't think we spend much time during the day actually taking a minute to think, what are we doing to make ourselves or someone else happy? And I would challenge you to think like, what did you do today? Or what are you going to do today to either, make yourself happy or someone else?
Right. So where we are is I encourage everybody to go to drinkupdate.com. That's www.drinkupdate.com. And when you get to that website, you're going to see the opportunity to purchase the Update energy drink. There are 4 flavors, as Daniel mentioned. You can get a variety pack. You can select either any one of the individual flavors. It is beginning to show up on shelves in some geographic markets, and there's a locator on there called Find a Store where you can determine if there's one in your area. But if not, rest assured, you can get them right from the website. So again, that's drinkupdate.com. And with that, Daniel Solomons, thank you so much for being with us today. It has been an honor, and believe me, in education.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance plus Passion podcast.